Hello, good morning to everyone. Today I stand in front of you with a particular reason. You might be surprised why I'm here. You all know we are passing through such a horrendous time in which the COVID-19 has spread far and wide, creating a lot of concerns to the people around the globe. And education is the one field that has suffered more than any other area. And it's high time we practice some different steps to be in touch with the educational process. That's why I'm in front of you. Are you with me? No more stories, no more dramatizing. I just want to tell you something about a beautiful poem. You might have heard about the poem. It's The Road Not Taken. It's a beautiful poem. Could any one of you tell me who wrote the poem? From this side? Yes, absolutely, you're right. Robert Frost. What do you know about Robert Frost? Have you heard of him? Of course, you might have heard of him for sure, because in the lower grades you have studied a poem written by him, and the poem is called, anybody? Yep, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. It's also a wonderful poem, and it has some special connections with India, because the last two lines of the poem, miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. These couplets have been copied in the office of our first Premier, Jawaharlal Nehru. And regarding Robert Frost, he was born in San Francisco in the year 1874. And he was a great poet and a playwright as well. And he has won 4 Pulitzer Prizes. That's the most fantastic achievement of him. You must be surprised to know why should I say all these details about him. See, when we study a poem or a piece of literature, we have to know something about the writer, means the author. And you have to make a profile of him. That's the first step that we have to do, because our notebooks are very important and crucial in our studies. So we have to maintain the notebooks beautifully. So that is why I said you have to prepare a profile about Robert Frost. So I'm not going into the details of him, because you have to explore. Why? Because education has undergone a lot of transition from the traditional teacher-centered process to the student-centered process, right? I think you really follow me, for sure. Okay, I just want to ask you, have any one of you read the poem? Yes, I see some hands are popping up here and there. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's a beautiful poem. And the title itself gives a kind of a clue and a sense of what Robert Frost is actually famous for. There's a famous dictum connected with him that his poems begin in delight and ends in wisdom. All the poems written by him has a very simple, a casual beginning, but when it reaches towards the end, it acquires a tremendous philosophical tone, which sometimes is causing a kind of surprise and bewilderment to the people, especially to the readers. So the title, A Road Not Taken, is very significant. See the last 2 words, not taken. What does it remind to all of you? Anybody? Yes, it reminds us of a choice a person has to make in his life. Nobody in this world is exempted from that. Everyone literally has to undergo this There's a very specific situation of choosing between two options given. In life, in activities, in all the dealings of human beings, we sometimes encounter this problem. And here he also tells us about the very same problem that he faced once. And the poem opens beautifully. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. And sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent to the undergrowth. This was his condition. So how casually the poem begins. A road is passing through the yellow woods. Yellow woods actually indicates what? When the woods, or when all the trees bearing leaves which is almost yellow in color, means it reminds us of a season. Yeah, autumn season. And it's a dull season, and that is why he says he is traveling through a forest, through a road rather, and it reached a particular juncture, a particular fork we call technically, where it divides into two, and the narrator reached that specific point. So now he has a concern, which road I will take. See, as I told you in the beginning, everybody at a point or other in his life has to confront with this reality of choosing between two given options. Poor poet, rather poor narrator, he doesn't have any kind of options. So he says, sorry, I could not travel both. Being one traveler, he cannot take both the roads at the same time. So what to do? The only option that is left in front of him is to wait for some time, to relax himself, and just to observe both the roads and to identify the physical features of the road, and to whichever has an alluring quality, means a very attractive quality, often we may take that one. And he observed the first road for a pretty long time. He looked at it so far as his eyes could reach, and after a specific point, the road seems to disappear into the undergrowth, means the densely growing vegetation, rather, means bushes and trees, rather plants. He decides, this is actually not my destination. This is not the passage or the path that I want to go. So automatically I have to go for the next option. And he decides to look for the next one. And here the poet uses some techniques. Beautiful imagery. The road is not the physical road we think. It is actually the road of life. See how beautifully the poets are able to convince their ideas through brilliant execution of imageries and different varieties of poetic devices. And this is what is the thing that we have to understand for the time being. We will be going deep into the depth of the poem. We will delve deep into the poem afterwards. Don't forget what we have studied today. You have to collect as much information about Robert Frost. Just try to make a profile of him in a sequential manner, and if possible just try to paste a picture of him as well and get it ready. We will see again the next day. Until then, have a nice day. Thank you.